So I've kind of gone and done it. Like, within the past week, I've taken the idea, done the research, planned it all out, and made the first apparel piece that is now up for sale. And it's crazy to think for the longest time I was going, I wish I could do that. Now, this is not like a successful apparel brand within a week. I haven't even technically shared it to more than a handful of people. This is part of what this is. But the idea is that I've already gone and done it. In less than a week, I've achieved the thing that I kept putting off, saying one day I wish I could do that. And that's kind of the point of this. Going forward, yes, I'm going to be improving it and potentially making more and seeing how it goes, but effectively, I've already ticked off the goal. I've already made what I plan to make. And that's exhilarating. The fact that I could push myself just through this little bit of discomfort, not really focusing on the perfect quality, but rather just getting it done and then improving over time. And that's fascinating to me because logically, yes, I can see that I could have done this many, many years ago. But I didn't have the mental capacity to then go, oh, that means I will do it. And that's why I love the concept of this series, because it is forcing me to do it. But either way, let's get into the brass tacks of what things are. So, over the past week, I've gone through different stages of researching, looking at different brands and whatnot that I appreciate and want to kind of emulate, doing market research in relation to them and their prices and shipping, all that sort of stuff, figuring out which exact system I was going to use, how it integrates with my website and how all that works. So, at the end of the day, the first and most interesting thing is going to be the shirt. So let's start with that. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in the last video that the concept I was going to be making was based around the generic joke in RPGs of I cast Fireball. And honestly, I really love how it turned out. For reference, here's shirt 1 and here's the back of it. You can get better looks if you actually go into the link in my little description, and that'll take you to my website where the first one is up. But I was very happy with how it worked. At the end of this video, I'll have a time lapse of me actually making the whole thing, so keep an eye for that. But throughout the process, I got to play with fire simulations and start to delve into that sort of thing. There's always one thing I'm like, oh, that would be cool to learn one day, and I figured why not pair it with what I'm currently doing, because, Fireball. And that was real fun to actually play with proper fire simulations. I'm definitely going to be playing more with that. But it also got me thinking about, okay, well, how does my design look when moving? How does it look when it is being wrapped around an object? Because shirts get wrapped around your torso. How would that change the design to, say, a poster? And the small intricacies that have the differences. So, for instance, the back of it, with the printing thing that I went with, it stops at about 2/3 of the way down the back. And because of that, there's this extra little bit at the bottom. So you can't do a hard cut off. So you need to find a way to blend it in an interesting way. And I'm not sure if I got it perfect. Again, the fact that I just got it done is more than enough for me, because I've already ordered the shirt and it's coming to me, and that's amazing. But there was something in the process of figuring out each of these little placements that kind of scratched that little itch in the back of my head going, ooh, how does this work? How can I make this more effective than it was before? And I love that. Again, the time lapse will be at the end. Depending on how I'm feeling, there might also be a voiceover for it, just the general thought process. But going past the actual design, I'm very comfortable how that turned out. I'm very happy with it, and yeah. But when it came to the sales part of it, was an aspect that I hadn't really dealt with a lot in relation to the systems I was using. I've used drag and drop design template things before, where you drag your design on something and then they figure it all out. But the e-commerce side of it was very fascinating to me, because I've never really looked into how to host a online store and whatnot, because it's always been built in. And during this, I actually went through and tried to figure out how it all worked and set it up properly. And yes, there's the whole business side of things, but just the simple aspect of worrying about okay, when I'm doing shipping, how much do certain countries have to be charged for me to be able to ship it there versus say a different country, and what countries within categories are actually part of that. The system that I was using, wouldn't allow me to just pick Europe. I had to go through and individually select every single country, which is quite interesting, but at the same time, I wish there was just a Europe option. Anyway, it was this aspect of learning these things that I never thought that I needed to learn, and there was something so pleasing about that. But yeah, if we're going to move on to the actual business side of things, the shirts themselves I'm selling in AUD, which is Australian, because that's what I am. The shirts themselves are going to be selling for $32. When I was looking at comparisons, anywhere from like 35 to 50 was the range of where like general geeky shirts were selling. And instead of going immediately for profits and trying to compete with those sort of like big brands and whatnot, I was like, well, I'm not doing this for a monetary income at first. This is just a tester and also for me to get cool shirts that I've designed. So I've put the profits on each of the things to like, I think it was like $9 or something, and the bigger the size, the less profit, because they charge more for bigger material, bigger like shirts that use more material. And at the end of the day, yes, if they do sell, I do make a profit. Like, depending on the shirt, I can make anywhere from, I think it was like $8 to $12. So it's not gonna be a massively successful sort of, oh, I'm making huge bank out of this. But I wanted to share that aspect of it because I've found that when I initially try and chase money behind a project, it doesn't work. The goal for this one was to make a cool design that I would buy and wear, which I've technically already done, just being shipped now, and be able to share that with other people that could also get excited about it and go, cool, I want to wear that as well. It's this aspect of going, my work is valuable to someone else to the point that they'd be happy to wear it. Now, I don't like the idea of like plastering my logo anywhere. It's not really my sort of thing. So when you get the shirt, you don't see the name Destroller on it anywhere. I mean, there is maybe one little Easter egg that if you figure it out, you'll know it's me. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at it, you won't be able to see any tags. You won't be able to see any sort of like brand names just plastered on it, because that's not what I would wear. I'm designing this in a way that I would choose it over something else. So that's basically what's happened in the past week. I've made the design, I've got a site up and running that's all running it, and yeah, I have a shirt for sale. There will be more going forward, and I'll be playing around with different marketing strategies over the next week and a bit. So that will be the next update, but that is it for this one. I do hope you enjoyed, and do enjoy the time lapse of me trying to figure out how to make a fireball and then design a shirt from it. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.